The movie starts with Stan Minen, a rich guy who lives in LA and has a lovely life. He's got a lot of money and a gorgeous wife named Mindy, whom he genuinely loves. Stan has a devious technique of selling houses to people. He fools them out of a bit of money, which builds up over time. One day he gets arrested for doing this and gets put to prison for at least 3 years for significant fraud. Stan's so anxious to avoid going to jail, so he asks his lawyer to attempt and bribe the court. But even though the lawyer tries, Stan still gets condemned. He manages to delay going to prison for 6 months by pretending to plan a charity event. After the trial, Stan's lawyer recommends he should flee town and go to Brazil, but he can't because all his money has been frozen. Stan must spend the next few months fearing what's next. He speeds through everything since time is short. One night, he's out with Mindy, who wants a child, so she won't be alone when he's gone. Stan believes it's stupid because they'd have to give the child up when he gets back. He truly doesn't want kids, and it causes issues with his wife. Mindy rushes off after he says this, and Stan heads to a bar. While there, he meets a person with a prison tattoo. Stan begs for advice and offers money. The guy says guards don't care about conflicts among inmates as long as they stay still. He also says Stan might experience sexual violence. Stan realizes he might be in trouble. The person advocates getting tattoos for protection. But Stan's mom's tattoo won't help. The man tells him to join a prison group. There are groups for Nazis and racists, Mexican males and African-American guys. The next morning he wakes up feeling horrible after drinking, thinking it was a dream. When Mindy informs him he's still going to prison to cheer him up, he's upset. She says he always finds a way. This encourages Stan, and he decides to become a leader in 6 months. He starts exercising regularly and gets a tattoo on his rear to make himself less desirable. One night, Stan wants Mindy to use a sex toy on him so that he won't be shocked if others try to advantage of him. He also starts a karate class but gets bored with the basics. He challenges the teacher and ends up fighting a kid, leading to him getting booted out. This is when he encounters an elderly guy known as the Master. He amazes Stan by effortlessly making a hole in the wall. Before he goes to jail, he has just one chance to learn how to protect himself, so he brings the old man home to educate him. On Stan's first training day, the Master moves in with them, which concerns Mindy. He's startled awake at 5 in the morning by blood from an animal's liver trickling on his face. The Master makes Mindy combine ox pancreas and horse tongues to prepare a smoothie for her husband. His manner of training is unorthodox, and over the top, some days he strikes Stan with a burning stick, while the other days he hangs him by his skin to test his endurance. He also feeds Stan a variety of exotic items, such as scorpions and snakes. Mindy, who is exhausted by the Master smoking all about the home, urges her husband to get rid of him that night. Stan pretends that they are being robbed and makes Mindy think she is about to be sexually raped. It turns out he is doing this to make her feel what he is feeling. When Mindy stops worrying, she packs her luggage and departs, claiming that she doesn't want to be with him anymore. The Master is glad that she went since. With only men in the house, the training may get rougher for the following 5 months. Stan works hard without relaxing. By the end, he surprises the Master in combat. For his last test, he goes to face the karate teacher who once threw him out of his class. Stan defeats the man effortlessly and completes his training. He is finally ready to defend himself when he needs to the Master, and the lawyer drops him off in the court. Mindy has still not talked to him, but she watches him discreetly from inside her car. Stan ultimately goes inside and is carried to prison on a bus. Immediately, a guy tries to touch him inappropriately, but Stan teaches him a lesson. At the prison, they are met by Warden Gas, who gently begs them to not annoy the guards. But other than that, they can do anything they wish to each other during the cavity check. The incoming detainees are asked the cavity check to undress and bend over. The guards are terrified to find standing behind that he has modified to make it look ugly. Following the cavity check, he walks to his cell and meets his roommate Larry to demonstrate his supremacy. He orders Larry to get to the lower bunk. Later, Larry informs him about the jail squads who have practically established a gang. The first gang is a bunch of black men. The second one is a band of Mexican thugs. The third one is Nazis. Then there is a group of scientists who are adept at killing people by talking too much. And lastly, he is introduced to the most dangerous sexual predator of the block, Big Raymond. Raymond is tormenting a new convict when Stan approaches him and confronts him in front of everyone. They get into a fight where Stan employs self-defense techniques given by the teacher to beat him effortlessly. Impressed by his skills, the commander of the Nazi organization, Patterson, tries to invite him to join their team, but Stan knocks him up as well. Then he is approached by the African-American team, who are unhappy that he fought big. Raymond Stan tries to dodge the fight, claiming that he is also black. However, the leader orders his troops to assault, and a fight breaks. The guards enjoy the show, while Stan defeats them effectively. After the incident, the entire prison is frightened of Stan. People make way for him everywhere he goes. They all establish him as the prison's alpha and call him Big Stan. A young kid named Robbie, who he saved from Raymond earlier, arrives to thank him, but Stan ignores him, arguing that he didn't battle those people for anyone other than himself afterward. Warden Gask invites Stan to his office and tells him that he pulled certain buttons to get Stan in this exact prison. It comes out that Gask is intending to take over the jail land and create an estate since Stan is an experienced realtor. He wants his help to search out any problem in the paperwork connected to it. In response, for his cooperation, Stan is offered to be freed only after a year of imprisonment. The concept piques his attention, and he agrees to help. In the meantime, the gangs of inmates have joined hands to give Stan a lesson while he is showering. One day, Patterson assaults him with a weapon made out of a melted toothbrush and a razor blade in turn. Stan gets out his nunchaku made of soap bars and a shoelace. He easily knocks Patterson up and sends him to the hospital. Stan misses his wife deeply and wants to meet her. He contacts his lawyer to see whether she has sent him the divorce papers to his relief. She hasn't yet. After that, he begins to work on the warden's project. He is introduced to a Vietnamese Moffat-turned-politician, Dang, who is Gas's partner on the project and is helping him undermine the prison. Stan overhears them discussing their plan to remove the prison off the property. He finds out that they are planning to make the detainees fight each other, so the guards shoot some of them. In that manner, the Board of Governors will have to consider closing the jail altogether because it is not being handled correctly. Stan thinks it is his job to aid the inmates, even though they want to kill him. The following day, he arranges a conference to determine certain rules and boundaries in the prison. First, he tosses away all their violent video games and movies because they are a harmful influence. Then he deems sexual assault a criminal crime. Anyone who does that needs to answer to him directly. When the men whine, he asks them to be involved in consensual homosexual sex. Instead, the concept is novel to them, but they agree to execute it anyhow. During the following lunch break, Robbie and some men approach St. Table and thank him for making the no-assault rules. Stan tries to pass it off as he establishes power, but Robbie knows that he cares about their well-being at another table. Raymond and his new boyfriend can be seen having a meal together. They are in a happy homosexual relationship, thanks to Stan. Robbie and his group, along with huge Raymond and his boyfriend, joined Stan's group. Thereafter, Stan is sent a letter addressed to him by Mindy. He had written to her apologizing for doing what he did, and now she wants to meet him over the next few of days. If somebody gets into a disagreement, they come to Stan to fix it. Eventually, everyone starts enjoying each other and living in harmony. One day, Mindy comes to visit Stan, and the two make love. At the same time, Gas is notified about what Stan has been up to, and the man is enraged at him for solving the inmate issues. Stan is hauled away in the middle of his special time with Mindy. Gask calls him out for trying to destroy his plot and threatens to make Dee kill him if he doesn't obey their command. The following day, Stan calls his lawyer to seek his advice. Because Gask is a powerful man, the lawyer urges him to do as told. After the call, Stan assures everyone that their situation is not his responsibility, and they can go back to the way they were before he came to prison. Soon the battles began to break out again. Robbie approaches Stan in the cafeteria, but he throws the poor guy's plate to ask him to go away. Even Larry is unhappy with him. He attempts to leave, but Stan stops him and orders him to keep away from the metal fence at noon. Larry sees that Stan is being compelled to do something he doesn't want to. He tells the other inmates, and they start to develop a plan. Meanwhile, Gas arranges a meeting between Stan and the parole board to negotiate about his early release. While Stan is at the meeting, Gas shows the board around the prison. He aims to carry out the plan near the fence around noon since many inmates fight at noon. He wants to utilize the chance to damage some of them while the board members watch Stan act mean to fool the board so he can warn others not to go near the barrier. D, who was trained by the same guy, confronts him. They battle, and even though D is better at first, Stan prevails. Meanwhile, other inmates assemble outside with weapons. Instead of fighting, they surprise everyone by dancing to a Mexican tune. One guard, Gas, gets agitated and fires randomly. The board recognizes this and is preparing to punish him. Gas tries to kill Stan, but is stopped by Mindy, who also trained with the master. 3 years later, Stan finishes his term and goes home. His buddies say goodbye, and one even gets a tattoo of his face. At the end, Mindy and the master picked him up with his daughter. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.